So right now we're in the old residential part of Whitefish, and there's some really nice homes along here. And if you can actually afford to live in one of these homes, congratulations. But in a couple minutes we're going to be seeing the commercial center of like old Whitefish, and hopefully I will also be eating some pizza. So we're still entering town, so nothing super interesting right now. Nice residential streets, warm sunny day. Of course, it's the middle of May. Whitefish is in a cold place, so, you know, it's not all as dandelions and blue skies and golden sunshine. So this here is the Whitefish Middle School, Whitefish Performing Arts Center. It used to be a middle school and it turned into Performing Arts Center. And Whitefish is a city of about 10,000 people. So that's a really big performing arts center for a city of 10,000 people. This is a resort town. A lot of people come here for arts and entertainment, so a lot of this stuff as far as entertainment and art really punches above its weight. Somewhat like, you know, we went to Friday Harbor, we went to Yachats, you know, comparable, a lot of these resort towns, but Whitefish is even more affluent because the resort is almost, you know, it's regionally and maybe nationally famous. Also should be pointed out, even though this is a big performing arts center, there's also an opera house, another performing arts center a couple blocks away. So yeah, really above its weight. This is Jersey Boys Pizzeria. I stop here every time. They have really cheap and good pizza and refillable fountain drinks, and that's all I want out of life right now. And there's one of my favorite locations. What I said about the Performing Arts Center, and you might have noticed I mentioned there's always something to read in Montana. That's also an impressive library for a town of this size, but not quite as impressive relatively as the Arts Center. The other thing is we're going to go over and we're going to see the train depot where I got off this morning but was too busy. So that is Depot Transit Hub, which is where I will be transiting this afternoon. And one thing about this depot is you saw the depot in Vancouver where we came from, and you've seen Salem, Albany Depot, Eugene Depot, and I don't know if it's exactly true, but that has to be at least the size of the largest of those. Like, that has to be at least the size of Eugene. Whitefish Depot is the most used Amtrak stop in Montana. It's kind of like Miles will not be making a video about it anytime soon. Oh, he might, but not for that series. And at one time it was even more important. This was a gigantic stop, and so you have a really classic building, and I wish I knew more about the architectural provenance of it. I might read something about that in there, or we might just have to guess. The station hours are 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 4 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. even though there's only two trains, one in the morning, one in the evening. This is a really nice station, one of my favorites. Has book racks, taxidermy goat, and a piano and flat screen displays. So maybe not the absolute most historical station in the Amtrak network, but definitely up there. One of the reasons why this does make a good Amtrak destination. There's my plug. There's other reasons this makes a bad Amtrak destination. You know, you do have that once a day train, which coming from the west, like what I did, works out, but coming from the east, not so much. And because this is an expensive city now, it's not a place you can just drop in and, you know, spend a couple days here for cheap, and transit connections further on are difficult, which is why I have an 8-hour layover here. But all that being said, yeah, it is a place I recommend if you're so inclined. This is apparently called the Bruck, and it was a shuttle bus for the Great Northern Railroad when this was a more important passenger rail destination. That's been replaced several times, and it's the replacement of its replacement of its replacement is what I'm going to take today. So the Depot Transit Center, is this bus shelter here. But of course, you're close to the railroad depot, which is very large. So that's just where the buses stop. So very interoperable, other than the weights involved. And if you're coming from the south, I think that bus gets here at 2:30. And so then it still is an 8-hour wait for them as well, if you want to go to the west going train. So here's the other theater, well, the Whitefish Theater Company. So there's not a performing arts center, but like specifically a theater. Here's the Black Star Brewery. Microbrewing is very popular here, just like it is in Oregon. And this is one of the originals. And this is Central. This is the shopping district and the drinking district and art and all that good stuff along here. This is another block of it. Art and jewelry, bake shop, the palace. I don't know what goes on there. Montana Coffee Traders. Maybe I often go in there because they open up early, especially in the winter when it's cold. I go in there. So you can see a lot of this stuff is art, dining, entertainment, what you'd expect in a resort. I know what some of those words are, not all of them. Waxing, sugaring. So obviously snowboard equipment, that type of thing, because a lot of snowboarders come here. Maybe not this time of year as much. Dispensary, of course, popular in Montana. Glacier National Realty. So some of the people here are from Spokane or Montana or somewhere nearby. There are at least some people who come in here from all over the world. It's not quite Aspen, but it is substantial. And I've probably shown some reasons why. So as you can see now, we are almost out of that central commercial and arts, entertainment, dining district. And I will show a little bit more of the residential parts of the town and then even like the new commercial part of the town. Before I do that, somewhere over here, I made a short video about this block here, which was the former site of the Frank Lloyd Wright designed Lock Ridge Medical Clinic, which was demolished due to structural issues, which was a controversial decision because, it was a Frank Lloyd Wright, even if the roof leaked. In fact, especially because the roof leaked. So maybe you've already seen the short about that, and I'm continuing on. We're going to see some other buildings not designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, but still pretty nice in their own right. So speaking of Frank Lloyd Wright, a lot of the houses in this section are pre-World War II arts and crafts / bungalow style homes. Probably speaks to the age of this settlement. And I don't know when Whitefish started to be a big city, but I think it took a while to get there. I'll hop back on the bike route here, back on the trail, just to avoid this tight turn and also to see more water and stuff. So I have to admit, I didn't remember this was all here. These look like rental bicycles. Maybe that would be a thing. So it's just kind of, like I said, times and space are different. And I don't know if that's a hotel, a resort hotel, apartments, some combination of all of those. But you saw in the middle of downtown, you have this like the bungalows and that type of housing. There's obviously a lot of different types of housing, and a lot of it is vacation oriented here. We have 3 very large culverts here. Right now the river does not look, the river lake does not look extremely full, but I suspect that sometimes they need all 3 of these culverts. In other news, like the path turned into this. I have no idea what's going on here. So once I left that path from the river, this is what we have. And I don't think I need to labor the point. Big old gas stations. On the other side, you have little box stores. You have your Safeway. There's a Dollar Tree, which on another day I might go there. So one of the points here, and I made this point in other tourist-oriented cities, whether it's Silverton, Hood River, Newport. Not so much in like places like Yachats and Friday Harbor because they're really small, but you have a really cute part, and then outside of that, yeah, you have a normal city, and sometimes it's even uglier than normal, to be honest. And another thing about that is, like, if you're visiting this place, it's nice, but you know, for the kids growing up here, not everybody can be a ski instructor, not everybody can be a professional ski bum. So what happens to them? Like, they work in retail, service industries, or they get out. And also probably, if you look at areas like this, the housing might not be really ideal, even, you know, if you're not rich. So I want to show the other side of the city, and I don't, you know, mean to say this is terrible, but yeah, outside of the cute part, so outside of like the cool parts of the city, you know, you have this, and just wanted to point that out. Now I'm going to go back into town because I've made my point. Related point to that, if you continue down the highway that way, you get to Kalispell, which is still a resort-oriented city, tourist-oriented city, but not like Whitefish, where, you know, that's the entire raison d'etre, so to speak. Kalispell's also a bit bigger, and so has more of that stuff. And we might go there someday, but not today, although we will be going through there today. And then if you continue behind me back to 93, you go through Missoula and then all the way down to Hamilton. See, there's a physical therapist contour spa. I know what those words mean separately, but not together. And as I've said before, a lot of times districts like this, you have a lot of professional services, including medical clinics and that type of thing. That seems to be the case here as well. So another use of these homes in this area is as bed and breakfasts and stuff like that. And probably a lot of the ones that are not are also Airbnbs or something, because you can get more money renting and it's hard to live here. Not sure what the statistics on that are, but that would be some of the things I would suspect. And we're about to walk back into the center of town. Don't know how much more I'll show. I think I showed the basics of Whitefish as a town. I just switched batteries. I wore out a battery over the past 24 hours. This camera actually has pretty good battery life. So I was waiting in the library, and there was even more places I could have gone, especially I was here for 9 hours, but I was tired. There are more residential areas of the city, more like small city parks, actually over in that direction somewhere. But for a first view, I think this has given a good idea of Whitefish. And kind of I chose Whitefish because I think it'll be popular because a lot of people visit here. And it's really parallel with places that other people have been curious, you know, other videos have been, people have been curious about, like Friday Harbor and Hood River and stuff. But for now, this will be the end of this video, part 1 and part 2 of visiting Whitefish, and someday we might get to part 3 and part 4. But for now, I'm going to go see what's going on in this bus, because I'm taking this bus to Missoula.